Welcome back to What Arty Noobs. This is the SU-14-2. It's the Tier 8 Soviet SPG. This one's located on the northwest spawn of Pearl River, and it's under the command of Oxagon of ENJ0Y. And yes, he's in platoon with, I think it's Sol Collie and Transy. Transy's in the Canadian Jagdpanzer 105 and Sol Collie's in the ELC 790. Now it's a standard battle. He's decided to go to the back of the cap area. He's got the 203mm howitzer as far as I can see. Yep, that's the 203. Capable of doing 900 alpha, penetrating 52mm of armour with a damage radius of 10.4 meters, so big footprint. But it does have a long time to reload. Standard reload is 42.19 seconds, and we can see the Oxagon's got it down to 33.7, so he shaved off nearly 9 seconds. Well, I think it's just under 9 seconds, but he does have 3 marks of excellence on the barrel, which means he's played it an awful lot and he knows what he's doing. Okay, well, he's aiming straight for the roads leading up to the village because there's 3 enemy tanks there together, and he stunned and splashed them. The E75 took the most damage out of that one. He got oh no, he didn't actually. The Carnarvon got the most. I was wrong. Carnarvon took damage of 246 and the E75 only 89. It's funny, it looked like it was more damage taken by the E75. Okay, he's still in reload, but he won't be for much longer, and it looks like Carnarvon's getting it again. And he does. Engine deck this time, 395, good shot. I suspect that the E75 took another shell at the same time as he was hit by the Arty shell. But he'd already got rid of his stun, and that's why we didn't see it. Over on the heavy tank area, we've got a BZ-176 and an E75. They're being particularly dangerous, but it's the VK-101P who could be a real threat to our BZ-176. Oh, and he's gone. And the kill shot came to the enemy BZ-176. Yes, I know I'm pronouncing it as if I'm an American, but we do have a lot of American viewers. Why not? Okay, he swapped over to the VK, but unfortunately our guys lost sight of him, so he's going to have to switch back to the E75. Ah, now he can go for the VK. Rounds out, looks good. It is 222. It's a low roll. Now I don't know if you can see it on the mini-map though, the enemy is pushing on the west side of the map and they are getting fairly close. Now in the position that Oxagon's in at the moment, he might have to move soon to avoid getting shot at from further away. He's almost ready to shoot again, and I think he's going for the VK again. It's the logical target. Rounds out, and another hit. 155 this time, hit the hard armor. There's a lot of very strong armor on the VK, but there are some weak spots you can actually take out. Unfortunately, at the moment, Oxagon's not hitting the weak spots, he's hitting the hard stuff. Okay, switching over to the west side of the map because I think he saw what I was seeing. And he's now just spotted an SU-130PM who's taking pot shots at our guys. Lines the shots up. Just got to move it forward slightly there. That should be it. That should be on it. Oh, he got him! He hit him! And the SU-130PM doesn't have much in the way of armor, so he might have penned him. A very good chance that he did pen the guy. He's going to have difficulty penning this one. It's a tortoise. He can pen the roof, but he won't be able to get through the side armor, not the side armor, the frontal armor, because the frontal armor on the tortoise is devastating. Oh, and he's been spotted. Yeah, my fears were realized. The enemy tank did see him, and a CS-52 Liss managed to get a shot into him. He's lost most of his hit points. 346 hit points gone. But it doesn't stop him. It looks to me like he wants to ambush that Liss the moment he comes around the corner. He's lining up a shot to go onto the Tortoise instead. Okay, line it up. That looks good. Yes! Well, he actually hit the side armor at the front there. Still fairly strong. If a Tortoise is angled, it's still very strong. But look at this. Soul Collector. Not what I thought it was. Soul Collector is his name. And he was actually under the gun depression of the Tortoise. Or at least looked like he was on the sides of the vehicle. It was making it very difficult for the Tortoise to get a shot on him. Okay, we're going to try and get a shot onto the Tortoise if we can. Instead, we're going for the Liss. Yeah, we want to get a bit of revenge on that guy. Lined him up. Bounce out. Oh, that was good. 342. And it looks like Soul Collector got a shot in just before he was killed. And we've lost sight of the enemy because we've got nobody spotting them at the moment. Now, the Canonian Jagdpanzer is Transy. He's our other platoon mate from ENJ0Y. In fact, Soul Collector was from ENJ0Y as well. I'm sorry I actually quoted you as Soul Collie earlier, but your name has now been abbreviated by Wargaming. They've changed the size of the tables. Okay, he's going back to the Tortoise. Lined up. Dialing in. Almost ready. Good hit. It was on the top though. And Transy is now having a go. And that SU-14-2 is very, very close. Now the SU-14-2 is made out of a heavy tank. It's a T-35. Oh, Transy died there. Now if that Liss comes in, you can ram kill him. But we don't need to because the Waffenträger finished him off. And that means now we're 2 up on the enemy. Their remaining tanks are a Carnarvon, an E75, and their Arty, the M40. Okay, we're going to try and put a shell into the Carnarvon in the corner. Rouse out. Oh, he tried to snapshot it in because he didn't know if the Carnarvon was going to move away or go out of behind into cover. So he snapped that one in, and unfortunately it didn't go where he exactly wanted. And now the Carnarvon has moved off. Now somebody was lucky enough to get an Object 283 in the Christmas draw. I have to admit, one of my accounts has got a 283 on it now for good. The others, I'm afraid, I've still got loads of rentals, but no real one that I own. So I think Wargaming has finally taken notice of a lot of people complaining and saying, well, it's not right that they should offer the 283 and not hand it out. There's lots of people have been putting the contest in and not getting anything. Okay, can he get this M40, M43? He's dialing in as fast as he can. Got to get the path. Oh, this could be fun. Fires the round in and... no, landed short. Okay, so they've only got the M40, M43 because they've killed both the young ones off. The Carnarvon's gone. The E75 is gone. It's only the M40, M43. If we see the tracer, then we know he's in this area. I suspect he might move back towards the cap. It's not an easy spot to defend this area. But you never know. He might actually be in there still hiding. We're going to find out any second. He is still there. Rounds out. Long flight time. And it's a big hit, but it's not enough to kill him. And the AMX M451 gets the kill shot that wins the game. Here's the end of battle results, and that was yet another ace tanker for Oxagon in the SU-14-2, the school bus, as it's well known. Yes, in fact, we did have a skin for a while made by Rusty and his very talented daughter, who actually managed to produce a skin that made the SU-14-2 look like a school bus. It was also a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, we got 11. And we also got a Gauze medal, and that's an epic medal for doing more damage exceeding 8 times the hit points of the vehicle, as well as Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win rate was 3,268, which is Super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, the highest damage in the game was done by Oxagon, but he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. 3,336 hit points goes to Oxagon. The second highest damage was one of the BZ-176s on the enemy team with 3,172. And the third highest damage turned out to be the SU-130PM on the enemy team with 2,873. Just a matter of interest, actually. I'd like to know, did he actually penetrate that SU-130PM? Because you remember he fired at him. Yes, he did. Look at that. 862 hit points of damage with just one shot. That was the shot where he fired blind because he lost sight of the SU-130PM, but he knew the guy was pulling forward to take a shot. He fired it downrange. It hit it, but we didn't see him afterwards. So presumably somebody else got the kill. But what Oxagon didn't know at the time was he penned that SU-130PM and got a nice total out of it as well. Let's go back to the rest of the details. Well, when it came to kills, Oxagon didn't get any at all. But the high scorers were the AMX M451, who actually benefited from Oxagon's last shot, which actually stripped the M40, M43 of the enemy team with all of his hit points, left him on only a couple, which made it an easy kill for the AMX M451. Second highest was, in fact, actually the... in fact, we'll go back to... here, it's the Waffenträger Alpha Panzer IV. He got, actually, he's joint first with 3 kills. And also the BZ-176 has got 3 kills as well. Joint second were the Canonian Jagdpanzer and the Mauschen. And also the Liss on the enemy team and their 283. And when it came to base XP, yep, it's Oxagon. 1,090 went to him. 1,053 went to the ELC Ever 90. Who was also on his team, that Soul Collector. He was doing a lot of harrying of the enemy as well as spotting. I think we can see that if we look at his details. 1,700 of spotting, and his win rate was quite high as well, 4,530. So very well done. And third on base XP was the AMX M451 with 997. We'll look at those details again, by the way, on his platoon mates. Soul Collector got 1,491 hit points, and of course that one kill. And then we got Transy in the Canonian Jagdpanzer. He did a lot of damage, 2,752 hit points, and on top of that he got and 2 kills. And on top of that, he got a tanker sniper for getting the most damage at a distance of 300 meters or more. And his win rate was 3,641, which is a decent score as well. We can see that Oxagon fired 12 rounds. You only get 16 in the SU-14-2. So he had 4 rounds left at the end of the game. He got 6 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetration, which of course we now know was the SU-130PM. 14 splashes as well. 3,336 hit points of damage, of which 2,634 were up more than 300 meters. The close stuff being the enemy tanks that were, well, within 300 meters. They were only a short distance away at the time. Yes, the difference being about, it's about 700 hit points of close range damage. He did receive 1 hit. It was a penetration. That was from the CS-52 Liss. And that's what I feared. He was up high, and when you're up high at the back, it does give you great advantage of being able to shoot long distances without an obstruction. But it also makes it fairly easy for the enemy to see you coming, because even some distance away, they're still going to spot you. And so whenever the enemy does get within view range of the rear area, you need to duck or change your position to put something between you and the enemy. And Oxagon didn't do it on this occasion, and that's why he got hit. Okay, 10 enemy vehicles were damaged, none were killed, so there's the Confederate, and he got 900 hit points of stun assist of 15 stuns. He earned 49,539 credits from the game, 24,770 from Christmas Ops, 74,309 altogether, 74,309, yep. And after repair, ammunition, resupply, and consumables, he took away a profit of 19,123 credits, 1,635 XP times 5 on this occasion, took away 8,175 experience points altogether. Right, well, let's have a look at the armor profile for this thing. It is actually made from a T-35, which is a heavy tank. The Russians made this multi-turreted monster of a heavy tank, which wasn't very good all on its own, but they did actually use the hull of 2 of them to make SU-14-1s, or rather they were actually SU-14s first. This was the artillery version of the T-35, but it had a variety of different guns. The gun I think that was the most successful was the 152mm, which of course is a standard caliber in the Soviet arsenal, but this one actually can carry the 203mm B4 howitzer, and that is also capable of doing a nice 900 alpha. Now the front of the vehicle is actually, well, you say thick, but it's actually 50mm at the front. It's really the weight of this thing that counts more than anything. It's 66 tons in weight. If a light tank hits this thing, it's going to suffer. The light tank will basically just become a bug on a windshield. It'll literally, so you can ram an enemy tank and knock them out of the game just by simply running over them. It's a pretty hefty monster, but the best armor is at the front. As I said, it's only 50mm, but it's angled in some places. But it's when you get to the sides, it's a little lighter, 30mm at the sides, and at the rear, it's even lighter still. It's only 20mm there. So on top of the roof, you can easily pen this with 10mm. So any Arty should be able to get through the roof of an SU-14-2. So ideally, yes, if you get close to an enemy and it's a light tank, try and ram him. But of course, your maximum speed is only 30 kilometers an hour, so it's going to be difficult to get a decent ram out of it, but you can but try. If he's got that close, then he's more than likely going to try and kill you. Let's have a look at the modules. Okay, we've got the engine up front on this one, right next door to the driver, who's the only one up front, and transmissions in front of him protecting him. We've got the gunner on the right hand side, another gunner on the left hand side, and the tank commander is just behind them near the breech. There's 2 loaders, as you can see, behind the breech, and they've got 2 ammo racks at the rear, which they're feeding the shells into the breech. It's either got the 203mm shell or it's got the 152. You really do need 2 loaders if it's a 203mm shell, because they're separate shells and charges. So one man would probably be struggling to lift the 203mm shell into place, and then the other one would actually put the casing or the charge in after it. In fact, I suspect that what they would actually do is that both men would lift the 203mm shell and place it in the breech, and then afterwards one of them will actually go for the casing, which actually has the powder in, and shove that into the breech afterwards. The radio, funnily enough, is right at the back of the vehicle, but that is actually behind the commander. And of course, there were only 2 of these vehicles. And in fact, actually, the SU-14-2 was the only vehicle that actually had the radio in. It was a conversion of the SU-14-1, but with the radio. So there you go. That's the SU-14-2, or the school bus. So a nice game there by Oxagon. Congratulations on surviving that one. I think get down from the heights. If the enemy gets close, get down as quickly as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be toast. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.